I would like to mention Chroma, lights designed for humans. Chroma, a Seattle-based innovator founded by ex-NASA and Air Force engineer Michael Shapiro, is on a mission to enhance physical and mental health with purpose-built devices, unlocking peak human health, cognitive function, and performance. Shapiro launched Chroma to restore the natural light lost to screens in indoor living and delivers faster recovery, sharper minds, and better sleep. Their products hit hard. The Iron Forge speeds muscle repair with red and near-infrared light, while the Skylight mimics sunlight to boost sleep and energy. A standout, the Forge lamp, is a portable gem that fires 660 nanometer and 850 nanometer light to energize mitochondria and heal tissues on the go. Remember the 4 red light chromophores on cytochrome C oxidase, frequently talked about in the podcast. This is why. Their products are built with military-grade durability that have lasting impact. Chroma's tech fuses precision and power. Gallium titride power supplies, smaller, cooler, and stronger than silicone, provide flicker-free light that's easy on the eyes. High-powered LEDs target key wavelengths for skin, tissue, and cellular health, with smart heat management for the lasting impact. Every design decision Chroma makes serves a purpose: to create devices that are precise, durable, and effective for improving human life. Remember, humans use different wavelengths of light for different functions of life. Remember when I ask, what do you think light is? Chroma designs with our biology in mind, from sleep aids and wound healing to mitochondrial energy, full body lights and blue light blocking glasses. They are US made and Chroma ships globally and accepts FSA and HSA payments. Use Autism at checkout for a 10% off discount. That's Autism at checkout for a 10% off discount. For today's episode, we will expand on the Autism and Relationships episode. We will cover a unique phenomena, mostly or completely tied to visual thinking, sometimes called thinking in pictures. This will include the social world, the unique and great complexities and challenges with this. It will also include some sensory processing, how extracting data from the outside world is difficult. It is fast and largely involve social norms. Social norms are created by the culture, the norms of the so-called normal people, the way people are expected to act, and even say how they talk. Later, I will have tremendous insight in the why of social norms. This will be necessary and an important consideration for all. For today's episode, we will cover supplementing relationships. It is easy to understand autistics don't have many social relationships. Socialness is hard. We are not influenced or biased to the outside world, to the environment. Hard stop, covered in the Kanner paper, the Kanner episode, and with Asperger's, the lack of social attention and influence was the primary reason the Kanner kids and Asperger kids, sometimes called Asperger's little professors, were taken to see them. This was the number one complaint or concern by the parents. The parents were so concerned the kids had no social motivation, no social interaction, had poor social skills, but instead they fixated to their internal world. You might have heard me say this in earlier episodes, especially covering criteria A, the social communication and interaction, so-called symptoms. The outside world is chaotic. It is less interesting. You are not as entertaining as our internal world. You also might not know, autism means autos, which translates into self. Many people don't know that, or don't care to know that. Self, the deep internal world. Remember when autism was first used, as scientists coined. They love this stuff. It helps solidify their presence in their field, in history. The so-called coining of terms. Often catchy catchphrases or buzzwords. However, autism was first used to describe intense, dreamlike states. Deep internal presence associated with schizophrenia. A strong connection between both schizophrenia and autism occurred from 1911 or so to 1959. Leo Kanner helped break those apart. See the Understanding the Rates of Autism episode from last summer, last July, and the message from the Kanner episode last fall, from Erwin Schrödinger, the Nobel winner, the quantum physicist. Schrödinger said Kanner thought what nobody has yet thought about that which everybody sees. You cannot see our thinking style. You can only guess. So staying within the self, that deep internal world, those dreamlike states. In large part, this occurs because seeing movies in thoughts, or said differently, thoughts turn into pictures and into movies. How can you not know what autism translates into? The origins, the real meaning. A key and underrated consideration of the lack of attention and influence to the environment is the mesencephalon, the midbrain. Their hidden data and consideration to the autistic phenotype is within the mesencephalon. See previous episodes covering neurulation and this time of the embryogenesis, when our central nervous system is developed. Remember the three main goals of the mesencephalon, and remember autistic phenotypes here. Think about autistics whenever I say these. The three main goals of the mesencephalon is 1, movement and motor control, 2, sensory integration, 3, biasing the attention of the living organism to the outside world. With that, a question not answered is, does the poor social skills come from the lack of practice, or is it already created because of areas like the mesencephalon? I don't know. All I know is socialness is challenging, and the rate of information coming in, especially through the sensory organs that go to the mesencephalon, is fast. See part 2 of the sensory processing episode. Then things like expectation, interruption, speech and language complications, being made fun of, constantly corrected, or being told how to act, etc. Those neuroplasticity and expectations. Rules apply and build up. This creates less social motivation. Okay, so the social norms. Social norms are created so that we act in a way that we can better predict the other person or the other people. We do this because we are prediction machines. We've covered how the brain is a prediction machine and how it is a metabolic bank accountant. So just imagine this for a second. When we are in the social world, when we are predictable, when we are following the social norms and sticking to those, the other people involved will be more at ease, and we can better predict them. So simple. See Lisa Feldman Barrett on this. In addition, or better yet, in contrast to that, social norms are trying to make us into something that we are not. Don't try to make me like you. Those social norms are powerful because if we are all acting in a way that makes sense to us, we can anticipate and predict. It is very, very calming to us. Remember the metabolic bank accounting as well. So to this point, it is mostly a foundation of socialness, how humans act in the social world, and some considerations of the autistic phenotype. So how does the autistic phenotype, at least in my experiences, learning and consideration, supplement relationships? Remember the episode with J.D. Barker from last fall, the highly prolific author. He writes many, many novels. How he was sharing with us how he creates characters, and those characters come to life in his mind, in his thoughts, and he can see them. And then he works diligently with his strict routine that he shared with us about his writing. And he puts these characters that he creates into his novels. Remember whenever he was talking about the prequel to Dracula, whenever he was tasked to write the prequel, Dracula, he was unable to discriminate his writings from Bram Stoker's writings. And they were all blended together, and he was creating those in a movie in his mind. This is what I'm talking about here. This is why it's so entertaining, one. And the second thing is why the outside world being so chaotic and sticking to the social norms and the strangeness of everything is not going to grab our attention. So you have the sensory processing phenomena, which makes it hard, and then the internal world that makes us just stay within our mind. And this is the root of the intense and preferred learning bouts, how we can just become so-called Asperger's little professors. And remember Temple Grandin explaining the autistic brain. See her books, When Thinking in Pictures, 2, Visual Thinkers, and 3, The Autistic Brain. She covers this. Remember explaining, whenever I explained, Temple Grandin says, the autistic brain is like AI. We build up categories and catalogs based off of imaging and these pictures that we see in our head. And then we can formulate these things. You can just search different podcasts she's been on, or speeches, talks, and she can explain this, or read the books or the audio books, whatever. Her episode with Jordan Peterson is pretty worthy. So visual thinking is involved. It is the driver to this. Remember the Kanner kids, despite not appearing to be paying attention to what was happening in the environment, they knew a lot about the environment. This is a factor because supplementing relationships can be done with people we have encountered to any degree, from a brief interaction to not even speaking to them, just seeing them in public, to people that we know quite well or we see frequently. It doesn't matter. We can do this with all forms of the relationships. In other words, I can piece together and see their life in my visual thinking. Their life comes to life in my mind and plays out like a movie in my head. And it is reliable. I can get bits of data about someone and create their life. As future encounters occur, if they do, I can add to that data. I can confirm and correct what I've created. Remember the AI mentioned just previously. This is what we're doing. We're building up this catalog. The bizarre part, you have no way of validating this. But usually, what is created later comes to be true. These movies about other people, sometimes I am in them and sometimes not. It's not necessary. They are real. This replaces the lack of socialness. It indeed supplements the real social interaction. I can see other people's lives as they are living their life. And this is mostly outside of the environment they or we are in. For example, if I see someone out and I create this movie about them, either instantly, soon after, or even much later, it is not just in that environment. Rarely is it. In addition, it is not uncommon that I see them doing any of life's aspects, anything that their daily routine or weekly routine, just normal daily activities that human beings do. I will see everything. Meaning, things I don't want to see. I don't want those happening. This has no limits. And when it navigates to that point, it can be hard to shift or turn off. Most of my human interaction occurs here. I supplement this. If we zoom out and we think about the so-called extroverts and the introverts and how much social motivation and desires and so forth that each of us have, it's a big spectrum. This is a great use of the word spectrum for once. When I do this, I am getting my social desires, that social interaction with others, fulfilled here. This is real. There is no other need to continue the social interaction because I can do it here within my own mind, my own creation. And you cannot see this. You cannot understand this. You can only guess. If you're listening to the podcast or listening to the episode, please feel free to leave a review or rating. In podcasting, reviews, ratings, and downloads are huge, and I very much appreciate your feedback. You can contact me on X at RPS47586. We can have open invite discussions about anything related to autism. I very much appreciate the interactions about autism on that platform. You can check out the YouTube channel for all full-length videos and shorts and clips. You can email me, info.fromthespectrum@gmail.com. And thank you for listening to From the Spectrum podcast. I would like to take a moment and mention a pressing issue we are seeing in our modern world. And that is tech use and tech light. The data are impressive and concerning on isolated wavelengths of light, especially shorter wavelengths, which is blue light. For those that don't know, we have chromophores, which are special proteins that absorbs specific wavelengths of light. For blue light, the light that is LED light and tech light, that protein is called melanopsin. Melanopsin is responsible for our circadian biology, physiology and cell functioning, hormone regulation, and even a connection to an area huge for mood. A consideration we should include is this protein was not even discovered until 1998. It seems important for us to understand how our biology uses the different wavelengths of light for various aspects of our biology. This blue light chromophore is our master controller, our master clock. Remember, circadian rhythm is a two-part process, two independent parts, light and dark. For a quick reference, see the 2017 Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine. But for now, I have something exciting. I want to introduce a product unlike any other product available. A highlight is the product from Daylight Computer Company created their product based on these factors. The Daylight computer is completely blue light free. It has no flicker. Short wavelength flicker is extremely harmful for our eyes and downstream biology. Light flicker is constantly turning our central nervous system on and off. Essentially, it is like going to a light switch and repeatedly turning it on and off. The problem is, blue light and LED light does this, and it is so rapid you cannot even perceive this in real time. The Daylight computer is the lowest stimulation and foremost for sensory sensitive users. It is no question that the alternative product, especially when used at night, do not address or consider this in their product. It is so toxic to human biology. Big tech corporations have patents on how their short wavelength implicate the human nervous system. And a bonus, despite Daylight computer not having backlight, it is very functional for outdoor use. And of course, increased sunlight is always preferred. I am happy to offer a discount for the Daylight computer. You can use the code AUTISM for a $25 off coupon. Again, use the code AUTISM and the discount code for $25 off. See the link in the show notes to Daylight Computer Company, or just give it a quick search in your internet browser. Use the code AUTISM for $25 off.